see that
I'm just waiting. Yeah, there's your hand. Yes, we've got it. We've got it.
20 seconds,
right, fine.
She'll take this off if you're
Yeah,
first.
that's oh, sorry.
She'll
I
take
thought
this
I
off.
was first, so
Yes, okay.
Yes, that's preordained.
you might create causes for you, you might get a bit. I like that nervous laughter.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Reckon he's super skinhead, Lucy, I reckon.
Leave it there, because
Right,
I'll
we're
put it on
zooming
there.
in. Okay.
Are we
Should
doing
we do
prayers?
prayers?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
let's do it.
I think I tried to get the right ones up. Let me check. I could only find one place for this one.
Yeah, you. I'm not doing it's report.
Oh, is
The
it?
prayers and
I
meditation.
mean, prayers for
I
meditation.
got prayers for meditation.
And that's what we do.
Did you?
Or did I? I thought I
You did. Something was it.
I went past Guru Foundation.
Prayers for meditation.
It's a great great prayer.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dhamma flourish forevermore. I and all all sentient beings until we achieve enlightenment. Go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings until we achieve enlightenment. Go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings until we achieve enlightenment. Go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. May everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. In the space before me is the living Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like the full moon surrounded by stars. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate, and make offerings both set out and imagined. I confess my wrong deeds from all time, and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases, and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to great enlightenment. The ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain for land, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land and offered thus. May all beings enjoy such pure lands. I offer without any sense of loss the objects that give rise to my attachment, hatred, and confusion. My friends, enemies, and strangers are bodies and enjoyments. Please accept these and bless me to be released directly from the three poisons. Itam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. The path begins with strong reliance on my kind teacher, source of all good. Oh, bless me with this understanding to follow him with great devotion. This human life with all its freedoms extremely rare, with so much meaning. Oh, bless me with this understanding all day and night to seize its essence. My body like a water bubble decays and dies so very quickly. After death come results of karma, just like the shadow of a body. With this for knowledge and remembrance, bless me to be extremely cautious, always avoiding harmful actions and gathering abundant virtue. Samsara's pleasures are deceptive, give no contentment, only torment. So please bless me to strive sincerely to gain the bliss of perfect freedom. Oh, bless me so that from this pure thought come mindfulness and greatest caution, to keep as my essential practice the doctrine's root, the pratimosha. Just like myself, all my kind mothers are drowning in samsara's ocean. Oh, so that I may soon release them, bless me to train in bodhicitta. But I cannot become a Buddha by this alone, without three ethics. So bless me with the strength to practice the Bodhisattva's ordination, by pacifying my distractions and analyzing perfect meanings. Bless me to quickly gain the union of special insight and quiescence. When I become a pure container through common paths, bless me to enter the essence practice of good fortune, the supreme vehicle Vajrayana. The two attainments both depend on my sacred vows and my commitments. Bless me to understand this clearly and keep them at the cost of my life. By constant practice in 4 sessions, the way explained by holy teachers. Oh, bless me to gain both the stages which are the essence of the Tantras. May those who guide me on the good path and my companions all have long lives. Bless me to pacify completely all obstacles, outer and inner. May I always find perfect teachers and take delight in holy Dharma. Accomplish all grounds and pass swiftly and gain the state of Vajradhara. From the hearts of all the holy beings, streams of light and nectar flow down, granting blessings and purifying.
Well, good evening. And who's at home? Sultana. I know, I'm sorry, I've got to, yeah, sorry.
No, you can't. It's not good call.
Linda and Helen.
Hi, sorry, Anne did you say? So Linda, Helen?
I think so for now.
Okay, so hi Linda, hi Helen. So we've got Eddie, Cher, Mark, Sue and Gogden and Sudana in the room together. So this is going to be slightly unplanned because we've had a slight communication blip, and I was supposed to be doing the second meditation on wishing love, and someone else was supposed to be doing the first. So because I've been reading the chapter out, I thought I'd do both, and then I'll hand over to Gogden, who's going to do meditation on taking and giving. But I think I thought we'd start with a little breathing black and white meditation. So, as Talopa would say, let's meditate. So, as we're all experienced meditators, start with a breathing meditation. And then just, as you breathe out, just make sure that you breathe out any of the worries and stresses and strains. Breathe it out as black smoke and let it dissolve into the distance. And when you breathe in, just breathe in the light and gold of Buddha's blessings. So your body starts to fill with white, beautiful light and blessings. And then you just breathe away any problems and stresses and enjoy. So we'll just do that for another minute or so, just remembering to breathe out any problems and stresses and concerns, and enjoy breathing in the light and gold of Buddha's blessings. focus, your concentration, and arise from meditation. Gogden, you can wave at me if I bleat on too long. It's 7:30. This is a section on wishing love, which is really, really beautiful. So the verse is, even if someone I have helped and of whom I had great hopes, nevertheless harms me intentionally, may I see him or her as my holy spiritual guide. So the meditations are actually from the bit on transforming adverse conditions. But I thought I'd just do a little recap of the beginning of this. So Geshe just mentions about the 3 types of love. The affectionate love, cherishing love, leading to wishing love. And that wishing love arises from cherishing love, which arises from affectionate love. And obviously, we've done earlier in the book about how to develop and enhance our cherishing love. But now we need to really develop our wishing love. And how do we do that? We contemplate that everyone wants to be happy, but no one's happy in samsara. So there's quite a lot of hardcore highlighting. It's worth rereading this bit of the book about kind of about what makes people unhappy, and also that remembrance that samsara is a reduction of suffering. There is no true happiness. The suffering caused by fire will never be changed into happiness. But we can see that the happiness caused, for example, by eating will change into suffering. So I think the 2 things about wishing love are, one is to remember that everything is about we're reducing our suffering, it's not happiness. And then we also, there's that, as mentioned before, indulging in samsaric pleasures is like drinking salt water. I think that's a really good analogy, isn't it? That remembrance that worldly pleasure isn't happiness and it doesn't last. And it's as fragile as a water bubble, as we say in our prayers. So then Geshe talks quite a lot about the benefits of wishing love. There's lots of benefits of wishing love. And obviously it's called wishing love, it's called immeasurable love. And one of the things I think Tilopa taught us when we were doing this, I've written a little note that says, just repeat, may everyone be happy. And I think that's a really good lesson to do as well, isn't it? Just on a regular basis, particularly I think when someone's getting on your nerves, is actually think, may they be happy all the time. May they attain the happiness of enlightenment. As people know, I tend to want to batter people, so it's a better approach. So there's lots of benefits, and there's 8 benefits, which I won't go into, but we need to contemplate those, and make sure that the more we do wishing love, the less our love becomes mixed with attachment. Most relationships between people are based on a mixture of love and attachment, but this isn't pure love. We value the other person because they make us feel good. That's kind of true, isn't it? But pure love is unmixed with attachment. It never gives rise to problems, but only to peace and happiness for ourselves and others. I think this is a really good chapter, wishing love, because I think it's really practical, isn't it, on a day-to-day level. So, transforming adverse conditions, which is, do you know what, Sue, I'm really glad it's not me, because it's there. And I'll never forget Eddie years ago, standing in front of a class going, please switch your phones off, and then his went. So I quite often mention that, because it makes me smile. And we might be limitless, as Geshe says, but we're not perfect at the moment, are we? So, transforming adverse conditions. Are we for time? So when things are going well, it's really easy, isn't it, to love people and be kind to people. I love this. However, if our love for others diminishes as soon as they cause problems or fail to appreciate us, this indicates that our love's not pure, isn't it? And it is, isn't it? It's really easy to like someone when they're doing what you want. Or as everyone knows about Danny, that he sweeps up the crumbs. That's really easy to love him then. But this is a really powerful section, and I urge everyone to reread it. I found it really useful when I was doing this. From a practical point of view, is we can transform every adverse condition, crumbs, things at work, whatever's getting on your nerves, whoever's getting on your nerves, into the path. So when someone we have helped repays our kindness by harming us, instead of getting angry, we should try and see that person as a spiritual guide and generate a mind of gratitude towards him or her. Is everyone going, oh, that's quite hard? It is quite hard. I was thinking about that today, but I did it today and it was really helpful at work. Because as everyone knows, I deal with a lot of people and a lot of helpful people and a lot of unhelpful, suffering people. So, but wouldn't that be good if everyone who got on your nerves or harmed us or insulted us, we could just see them as a spiritual guide? And there's 3, and we're going to do 2 meditations on this section. But there are 3 ways of well, Geshe talks about there is several lines of reasoning to do that. About seeing everyone who harms or insults us as our spiritual guide. And to have gratitude for them. I'm already thinking, oh, it's challenging. But the first one is karma. We're not going to do a meditation on karma. Talopa didn't give us those instructions. But basically, when someone harms us or insults us or is getting on our nerves, we just remember that we created this. We created the causes of this, didn't we? They're teaching us about the law of karma. And if someone is deceiving us or harming us, then we need to remember that actually that means that we did this in the past. I think karma could be a really powerful way of accepting things, isn't it? And actually to think, right, this person who's harming me or insulting me, I've created this karma. And actually now that I'm reflecting, they're encouraging me to purify my negative karma. How kind they are. They must be my spiritual guide. Now, so we talk about emanations and seeing people as emanations and the fact that we don't know who's an emanation. Ooh, this isn't in the text, but emanations are there somewhere. But it's true, isn't it? Everyone we could meet, everyone in this room could be helping me. It could be an emanation and helping me on my practice. And you just think how much easier would life be while we're on the path, while we're baby bodhisattvas on the way, to be able to see everyone as a spiritual guide. So anyway, the first one, to be able to have gratitude and to think of someone as a spiritual guide to transform adverse conditions, is karma. The next one is about renunciation. Someone else was going to do this meditation, but I'm going to do it. And I think because I hadn't planned this, I think what we'll do is there's a little bit of kind of why renunciation, and then there's the meditation. So I think what we'll do is I'll read the meditation first, then I'll read the little bit around it, and then we'll do the meditation. So thinking about renunciation. So Geshe says, we can transform a situation that would normally give rise to anger or self-pity into a powerful lesson in the need for purification and moral discipline. So when we're doing this meditation, we need to think, this is helping me think about renunciation. This person is my spiritual guide. This person, or animal, really. Sometimes animals get on your nerves, don't they? My cat today, in, out, in, out, in, out. In, out, wanted tuna, didn't want tuna, did want tuna. So that's a sideline. But yeah, so anything that can, instead of giving rise to anger or self-pity or another delusion, we can think, right, this is a need for purification and moral discipline. So the actual meditation, which I'll read out, but then we'll do it in a minute. But we can have a little think about it before we do it properly. This experience shows me that there is no certainty in samsara. Everything changes. Friends become enemies and enemies become friends. Why is this? It is because in samsara everyone is controlled by their delusions and no one has any freedom. This situation is encouraging me to abandon samsaric rebirth. So instead of getting angry or discouraged, I must abandon samsaric rebirth and generate the joyful mind of renunciation. A sincere wish to attain the permanent inner peace of liberation. I pray that I may attain liberation from samsara and that all living beings may attain the same state. So that's what we're going to meditate in a minute. And then Geshe says that the benefits of that are, so by following this line of reasoning, we view the person who is treating us unkindly as our spiritual guide, who is encouraging us to leave samsara and experience pure happiness. So, and he just reminds us that this skillful way of viewing our difficulty transforms it into an opportunity to progress on the path, on the spiritual path. So that person is teaching us a profound lesson on the nature of samsara. He or she is supremely kind. See, that just makes sense, doesn't it? Then sometimes when you're in the situation, you still want to batter someone. But can you imagine how much better it would be if we could do this? So I think I'm going to read this out and we're going to meditate. So let's meditate. This experience shows me that there is no certainty in samsara. Everything changes. Friends become enemies and enemies become friends. Why is this? It is because in samsara everyone is controlled by their delusions and no one has any freedom. This situation is encouraging me to abandon samsaric rebirth. So instead of getting angry or discouraged, I must abandon samsaric rebirth and generate the joyful mind of renunciation. I must abandon samsaric rebirth and generate the joyful mind of renunciation, a sincere wish to attain the permanent inner peace of liberation. I pray that I may attain liberation from samsara and that all living beings may attain the same state. I pray that I may attain liberation from samsara and that all living beings may attain the same state. This situation is encouraging me to abandon samsaric rebirth. So instead of getting angry or discouraged, I must abandon samsaric rebirth and generate the joyful mind of renunciation, and sincere wish to attain the permanent inner peace of liberation. I pray that I may attain liberation from samsara, and that all living beings may attain the same state. I'll just do another minute more. Okay, when you're ready, relax your meditation and finish your meditation. So the next one, the next way of transforming adverse conditions into the path. Our third one is through patience, and this was my meditation. And I think some of you know me for a while, know that part of how I got into Dharma was to try and be a less angry and less impatient person. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But in my last job, when I was in Manchester, my nickname by the team was #BadBuddhist. But when I was ranting about kind of something, and I had a lovely, lovely boss, but if I'd still, and I suppose I still do, but I'd be sort of ranting about a situation or something, and that we were trying to solve or sort. I'd just say to him, well, just think what I would be like before I got into Buddhism. So, I find this also really, really useful. Obviously, patience is one of the 6 perfections. But just from a practical point of view, I think we all know that. And in fact, actually, most of us in this room have got challenging jobs. I'm not sure being ordained is a challenge. Does that come as a challenging job? I don't know.
That's what I think of that one.
So, Gogden, for anyone at home, Gogden's just said, put the robes on and see. No, I think, is the immediate answer to that, Gogden. And obviously...
You step into the ring when you get ordained.
And obviously I know Sudhana runs around working very hard for the centre. But yeah, I think everyone in this room's got some kind of challenges in their job. I love my job, but I have lots of challenges, and you just think, whenever we can put Dharma into practice and patience into practice, it works, doesn't it? And we're all a work in progress, aren't we? So I think I was going to do the same. is to read the meditation and then just kind of, there's a really succinct bit about the benefits of using patience to transform adverse conditions, and to think about the person who is harming you or hurting you, is helping you practice patience, how kind they are. They can be an emanation. Think of them as your spiritual guide. Yeah. So, the other thing I was thinking about is, so we'll just do a practice. I'll just read it and then I'll read the bit about patience. But I was thinking it might be helpful when we do this bit of the meditation, is that before I read it out, I'll just prompt you to actually think about someone who's been getting on your nerves or harming you or insulting you. And we tend to think about that sounds quite hardcore, isn't it? But it's the little things that niggle you, isn't there? So we'll do that as well. So the meditation preparation is: the person who is harming or disturbing me is in reality encouraging me to practice patience. And since it is impossible to make progress on the spiritual path without developing the strong mind of patience, he or she is of great benefit to me. And there's just a really powerful little paragraph about the benefits of patience. So patience is a mind motivated by a virtuous intention that happily accepts difficulties and harm from others. Happily accepts. So we know this, don't we? When we've got no patience, we've got no stability of mind, whether it's with work colleagues or when you're at home or when you're out and about. I always just think about queues. I always just think one of the first times of going up to Manjushri, and everyone just has to queue for everything, and everyone's just like, after you, oh, yes, and just really calm. And you think about kind of when you're in Liverpool and I used to be one of these people, I'd be like, I'm in a rush. I'll be tapping my foot and just thinking, oh, will you just stop chatting? And how much easier is it when if you're in a queue and someone's chatting to the attendant in Tesco's, and you just think, oh, they might have not spoken to anyone today. And let them enjoy that bit of time with that person. You just mind shifts so much, doesn't it, when you can practice patience, I think, in kind of day-to-day things. Once again, sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's challenging, isn't it? But yeah, so, yeah, when we've got no patience, we've got no stability of mind. And I love this. And we get upset by the slightest obstacle or criticism. And that's true as well, isn't it? I think there was... in fact, my mum was saying to me today, she was saying, oh, that person. And I went, well, actually, Mum, I got upset. I said, but actually it was just because of how I responded. That person didn't mean that. And it was because the other thing as well is the people who love you also get defensive for you, don't they? When you kind of, and there's been a couple of times, I think, when I've been upset about something and I offload up my little old mum who's lovely. And then a bit later on, because she's got not a good memory for names, but she's got a good memory on other things. And she'll say, "Oh, what happened with that person and how are you feeling?" And there's been a couple of times recently. My sister, I think anyone who knows me, I've got two sisters, a half sister and a full sister, but both of them are my practice. But my half sister flew over from South Africa, and I bought tickets to Hampton Court Flower Show, and she booked an Airbnb that I couldn't, with no space for me, and there were all these kind of things, and I was just like, so I had to drive 5 hours down to London because I was having to whiz over half, and I was just really niggly about it. We had a nice day, but actually I thought I should have just, instead of just going, I should have just practiced patience. If I'd have stopped, and instead of her annoying me and me making knee-jerk reactions, it would have just been, we would have planned the day so much better. The day itself was fine, but the time around it was not so good. But actually that was because I was like, oh, it's just Mandy. And I did off my own thing, when actually what I should have done is, should have just spoken to her with a calm and peaceful mind and said, right, how should we work this together? What should we do together? So yeah, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but I just think, yes, I suppose no, I am, but when we do the meditation, we'll think about someone who's getting on our nerves, or I say harming or insulting us, tends to be, because it's the little things, isn't it? We'll do the meditation, but also part of that is just thinking, or maybe think about, sorry, I'm going off piece now, or maybe think about where you have practiced patience, isn't it? Where something that was annoying you, or someone who was annoying you, you can have that, you can shift that mind, isn't it? Because that's really powerful. I find that really powerful. Right, I'm bleating on. I told you to give me a psychological slap when I was bleating on, Cogden. Right, but we need to crack on because I need to hand over to Cogden in sort of 10-15 minutes. This is the bit that I thought was really amazing though. So so in contrast to our kind of getting offended by every little obstacle or criticism, if we develop real patience in our mind, our mind will be as stable as a mountain and as calm as the depths of the ocean. Our mind will be as stable as a mountain and as calm as the depths of an ocean. That kind of blew my mind about trying to sort of really have that motivation to try and do that. Oh, I haven't got my I was thinking, why is everyone blurry? I need to just remember this thing, kind of glasses thing. I can't get my head around being short-sighted, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's why you're all blurry. I thought that was lovely. And with such a calm, strong mind, it will not be difficult to perfect the spiritual realizations of universal love, great compassion, and bodhicitta. With such a calm, strong mind, it will not be difficult to perfect the spiritual realizations of universal love, great compassion, and bodhicitta. And then the next paragraph towards the end of the chapter just reminds us that actually we can transform all our adverse conditions into the path by thinking of everything that happens as a lesson for us and helping us on the spiritual path. There is somewhere on there is one of the bodhisattvas, isn't it? Is it Atisha? Atisha who had his challenging assistant, but I'm going off on a tangent, it's not in this chapter, but let's think about Atisha as well. So let's keep in mind how amazing patience is, and just remember that if we can think of whoever's getting on our nerves, that they are our spiritual guide, they're an emanation of Buddha, they're our spiritual guide, they're teaching us, they're showing us. I think that'll be really good. So we'll do the meditation before I pass over to Gogden. And I think I'll read it out and then we'll just meditate. But before we do that, you all might be already doing this and not have anyone who is getting on your nerves. So good for you if that's true. Maybe you can imagine someone who might get on your nerves. I've got a really good example, so it'd be easy for me. But perhaps if you want to, just have a little think about someone who's a little bit challenging. And then, get ready and we'll meditate. This person who is harming or disturbing me is in reality encouraging me to practice patience. And since it is impossible to make progress on the spiritual path without developing the strong mind of patience, he or she is of great benefit to me. This person who is harming or disturbing me is in reality encouraging me to practice patience. And since it is impossible to make progress on the spiritual path without developing the strong mind of patience, he or she is of great benefit to me. relax your concentration and you can arise from meditation. That was 10 minutes to try and get me back on time, Gordon, so we're 8:15. And I haven't touched that water, so you can have the water.
Evening, everyone. Welcome to our FP meditation classes. Thank you, Lucy. Well done for covering all that. There was quite a lot there to get through. And so I'm going to do the meditation on taking now. So we're going to look a little bit about the practice of taking. So I'll just get my book up. So why do we have to think about taking? Well, taking on the suffering of others means that we have to take some responsibility. So we have to think about helping others, you know, thinking about their suffering. And I love the analogy Geshe gives in, I think it's in Mirror of Dharma, I think it's in a few books. He says, you know, we need to feel others' pain as keenly as we feel our own. And that just hits me there. You know, you need to feel others' pain, others' suffering as keenly as we feel our own. If we don't do that, we're not going to do anything to help others, are we? We're just going to float along thinking, I hope everything's okay for me today. No one uses all the milk so I can have my cup of coffee, you know, and there's not much traffic on the way to work and everything like that. We just go along with an ordinary mind. But we'll be surprised if we push ourselves a little bit with the strength within ourselves that we can find to help others, to reach out to others. And actually, eventually we'll be able to liberate them from their suffering. If we come like Buddha, they're just compelled with compassion to help living beings. Imagine having a mind like that, just compelled each day to help living beings all the time. What a lovely mind to be in. No self-cherishing, no all about me, no nothing. You know, I read a story quite a while ago. I got this book, and it was based on, well, it was a true story. It was about the 9/11, you know, when they bombed the Twin Towers. And it was called Last Man Down. And it was a fireman, he was a chief fire officer. And he'd wrote a book about his experience, you know, during that time. And he was actually the last man in the building to go in and rescue others. And I was reading it, I thought, how amazing is that? He didn't think about his own safety or his own thing. He just knew he had responsibility as his job, and he just went in that building that was collapsing around him to rescue others, to get them out. So that's what we've got to be like with living beings. We've got to get them out of samsara. They're trapped, they're suffering, they're in danger of going to a lower rebirth. So we've got to get them out. It's our responsibility. Who else is going to do it if we don't do it? You going to do it, Eddie? You? I'll just leave it to you then, shall I? That's what we think, don't we, sometimes? But we've got to do it. It's on us. It's on us. We've got to take some responsibility. We don't like that word responsibility, do we? You know, we try and go through life avoiding it. You know, someone says you've got to do this, or that's yours, that's your baby. We're like, oh no, not me. Why me? Can't someone else do it? But we've got to take some responsibility for others. That's what a true bodhisattva does. They take on the sufferings of others. They help liberate them. You know, and I'm going to put a little plug in here. One of the best ways to do that is to teach. To teach, just give the Dharma out to people. You know, we were so grateful when we come along to the centre that we sat down and someone had given up some time so we could hear these words and listen and take on, you know, the understanding of Buddha. And now we've been here a long time. We've been doing this a long time. even the people online, you know. So we now need to give it out to others, don't we? Share it. Take on that responsibility. So in this chapter, he also gives, Geshe-la gives the benefits of taking on the suffering of others. So we all like to think, oh, there's something in it for me as well. You know, Buddha's very skillful. He's a good psychologist because he thinks, oh yeah, I'll give them something to do, but I'll make sure there's something in it for them, so they'll definitely do it. Because we're all human beings, aren't we? And if there's nothing in it for us, we'll think, you know what? Might just put that on the shelf for a bit. So it says here, all living beings are our mothers. And this is what it refers to in the verse. Everyone's been our mother. You wouldn't leave your mother of this life behind, would you? Or your caregiver who was like your mother. You wouldn't leave them behind. You wouldn't let them just, you know, if the house was on fire, the building, you'd run around trying to rescue everyone, get them out, wouldn't you? Come on, house is on fire. Fire alarm went off last night in our here, and we all ran downstairs. Everyone was in the pyjamas. You get to see what everyone wears in the pyjamas. But that's what you do in a fire, isn't it? You get out. Danger. Let's get out. So that's what everyone's been each other's mother. Why would we leave them behind? Why wouldn't we take some responsibility to think, I'm going to help you get out? As well as myself, I'm going to help you as well. So it says here, through his omniscient wisdom, Buddha realized that there is not a single living being who has not been our mother in the past, and each of these mothers has shown us infinite kindness. Because we cannot recall our precious lives, our previous lives, and because the aspect of our mothers changes from life to life, we do not recognize them or remember their kindness. But this does not alter the fact that all living beings are in essence our kind mothers. So we have to remember that. Everyone's been our mother. And the way we have a heartfelt feeling for our mothers, that will motivate us to help them, to liberate them from suffering. So it says there are 4 main benefits of this meditation on taking and giving. First, to purify the potentialities of non-virtuous actions that cause us to experience serious diseases such as cancer. So taking on others' suffering purifies our own. It's a karmic thing, isn't it? If we take on others' suffering, it's going to purify our minds. We're going to get rid of our own through doing that. And number 2, to accumulate a collection of merit. Well, we all need that, don't we? We all need some merit. Don't know about you, but my bank account's quite low on merit because I get angry a lot, especially when you live in a house with 15 or 12 other people. So you have to keep investing in that, replenishing your spiritual account. And then to ripen our potentiality to be able to benefit all living beings and to purify our minds. So the more we do this meditation on taking and giving, or the more we do on taking suffering, the more it brings it out in us. It's like anything, the more we practice it, the easier it becomes, doesn't it? So we'll be able to do it eventually. We'll be like Buddha. It'll just be natural for us. We won't even think about it. It'll just be like something we can step into and do naturally. So it's scary. I know it's scary to take on responsibility and think, I've got to take charge. I've got to do this. No one else is going to do it. Well, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's what they say, don't they? Let's just do it. Stop sitting on the sidelines and let's take some responsibility for ourselves, for others, and for all living beings in the world. Let's liberate people from their suffering. That's what it's about when we come here. That's what we're aiming for, aren't we, to do? To help people liberate themselves. So it says here, those people with deep experience of this practice of taking can easily fulfill their own and others' wishes. Why is this? It is because they have had so much merit and because their wishes are always pure, purely motivated by compassion. Who doesn't want to fulfill all their wishes? Who doesn't want to, be happy? If we do this practice, the more we do it, the easier it becomes to fulfill our wishes. The easier it becomes to help others, to get merit. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? Like they say on Dragon's Den, I'm in. I'm invested in that. I'll bank that one. So we've got to just try. That's all we need to do. We might feel scared and think, well, I'm not Superman, I'm not Wonder Woman. I can't save the world. But we can start with people around us. Listen to others. Engage with others. Look for opportunities to help others. And then, through that, we'll start to motivate ourselves, think, I've got to do something about this. Everyone's, the world's crazy, and it's getting crazier. I've got to do something. I've got to become a Buddha. Really motivate ourselves. So, we're going to do a little meditation based on actually taking on the suffering of others. And don't be scared, just really let your heart go into this and think about it and try to feel it. So what we're going to do is we're going to think about the actual meditation, what it is. Then we'll do, this is the contemplation, and then we'll do the actual meditation. So we need to get ourselves into a comfortable meditation posture. And just gently close your eyes. Just bring your awareness inwards. Just let all external things just dissolve away. So we can meditate. There are two ways of training in taking by means of compassion. The first is to focus on all living beings in general and imagine taking on their suffering. And the second is to focus on a particular living being and imagine taking on their suffering. So you can choose which one you want to do in the meditation. To practice the first method, we visualize ourselves surrounded by an assembly of all mother living beings, without exception. That's the important bit. For auspiciousness and to help us relate to them more easily, we can visualize them as all human. We can visualize them all in the aspect of human form. But we should remember that each of them is experiencing the sufferings of their own particular realm. It is not necessary to picture them clearly. A rough mental image will suffice. We then develop compassion for all these living beings, thinking about their suffering. Human beings experience the sufferings of birth, sickness, aging and death, of poverty, hunger and thirst, of meeting adverse conditions and not fulfilling their wishes, and of being separated from their loved ones, as well as countless other sorrows. Animals experience the same sufferings, only far worse. In addition, they suffer from great ignorance, exploitation by humans, and living in constant fear of being killed by other animals. Hungry spirits experience the sufferings of intense hunger and thirst, and hell beings experience unimaginable sufferings of heat and cold. Demigods experience the sufferings of jealousy and conflict for long periods of time. Even gods who spend most of their lives enjoying the pleasures of samsara are not free from suffering. Their enjoyments, environments and bodies are contaminated and in nature of suffering, and they experience great anguish at the time of death. Because they too are under the control of their delusions, they have no freedom from samsaric rebirth and have to experience samsara's sufferings endlessly in life after life. So focusing on all these living beings of the 6 realms and contemplating their sufferings, we can think in the depths of our hearts. In their countless future lives, these living beings will continuously experience, without choice, the sufferings of humans, animals, hungry spirits, hell beings, demigods and gods. How wonderful it would be if all these living beings were permanently freed from the sufferings and fears in this life and countless future lives. May they achieve this. I, myself, will work for them to achieve this. I must do this. Thinking in this way, we imagine that the sufferings of all living beings gather in the aspect of black smoke. This dissolves into our ignorance of self-grasping and self-cherishing at our heart. We then strongly believe that all living beings are permanently freed from suffering, and that our ignorance of self-grasping and self-cherishing is completely destroyed. We meditate on this belief single-pointedly for as long as possible. So just try to imagine living beings surrounding you as you see them all, or just one person that you want to think about. You imagine that you take away their suffering. It appears in the form of black smoke. Dissolves into your heart and destroys your own self-cherishing mind. And these living beings become free and happy, peaceful and calm. Really try to believe that this is possible. If our mind has wandered, or we've lost our focus, just go through the contemplation again, how all living beings are suffering, and how we must take responsibility to liberate them. So for the last few minutes of the meditation, we can really set a strong determination in our heart. I will take responsibility for liberating all these mother living beings without exception. I will free them from their suffering. Hold this determination in your heart. So now we can just gently and slowly just relax our concentration, open our eyes, finish our meditation. So we don't get off lightly, we get something to do in the meditation break now. So you've got something to think about. So it says here, with compassion for all living beings, we should continually practice this meditation until we experience the signs that indicate our mind has been purified. These signs can include the curing of any sickness we may have had, the reducing of our delusions, or having a more peaceful and happy mind, the increasing of our faith, correct intention and correct view, and especially the strengthening of our experience of universal compassion. So you can look out for them signs. If you keep practicing this meditation, you'll definitely see signs that will show that we've achieved this goal. How wonderful. Can't wait, man. Can't wait. So we're going to dedicate all this beautiful energy that we've done through these meditations, through Lucy's meditations, and through this one as well. So thank you for listening, and thank you.
Through the virtues I have collected, by practicing the stages of the path, may all living beings find the opportunity to practice in the same way. May everyone experience the happiness of humans and gods, and quickly attain enlightenment, so that samsara is finally extinguished. So that the tradition of Jaisangkapa, the king of the Dhamma, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified, and may all favorable conditions abound. Through the two collections of myself and others, gathered throughout the three times, may the doctrine of conqueror Losandrapa flourish forevermore. Crown ornament of the scholars of the Lord of the Snows, you are Buddha Shakyamuni and Vajradhara, the source of all attainments. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion. Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom. And Vajrapani, the destroyer of the hordes of martyrs. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three truths, with my body, speech, and mind, respectfully I make request. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainments. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the snows, you are Buddha Shakyamuni and Vajradhara, the source of all attainments. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion. Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom. And Vajrapani, the destroyer of the hordes of martyrs. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three truths, with my body, speech, and mind, respectfully I make request. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainments. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of respectfully I make request. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainment.
Quick announcement just going to make. Hiya guys. Thanks to the candidates tonight. That was wonderful. Next week we've got Mark, Lisa, and Eddie. Okay, that'll be the last session before the break. So don't forget we've got the what we got. We've got dedication for world peace on Sunday between 10 and 11. That might go a bit longer, 10 to 11:15. And then we've got the barbecue at 12, which you're all very aware of, I'm sure. It'd be lovely to make. It's looking good. We've got a lot of bookings already. And it's just pray for good weather in the garden. If not, we'll be in the cafe. So yeah, many as possible. That'd be great. Last end of term bash.
Tell people
Before.
to book so we know how much
Bring.
Tell people to book so we know how much food to
Yeah, we need bookings. You need to book, so we know exactly what to buy.
Well, you're not getting a bit.
Or you won't get a burger. And finally, we've got a power on Saturday at 11. So for anybody who would like to attend, of course, they're most welcome. But also, if you have any candidates people, your loved ones or people at work who have died recently, then just let me know and I'll put them in the book and we'll do a power for them. Thank you very much.